So we're super excited to have Grace Evans on the podcast today. I found her through social media and I just got a really good vibe from her. And I felt like she would be somebody who could reach kind of our younger audience. And she's 22 years old. She's, I would say, more of an LDS influencer, but she has a lot of different things that she talks about on her social media, from fashion to kind of like get ready with her, and just kind of an interesting perspective because she is from California but currently lives in Utah. And something that kind of gravitated me towards her profile is just how authentic she was and kind of just unapologetically herself. And so I think you guys will really enjoy this conversation. And yeah, we're just excited to have Grace today on the podcast on Welcome to the Zoo. Hey, well, we're so excited to have Grace Evans, right, on the podcast. I just want to make sure I said it right.
You're right.
Thank you so much for just like taking the time and coming out and just us getting to know you better. So I guess just to start off, if you could just tell our peeps, like where you're from, just like your background.
Yeah, I'm from Los Angeles. I'm from all over LA County. I grew up and moved around a ton, but LA County. So if you guys know where that's at, great. Both my parents are still out there. The rest of us have since moved out, but I have 2 older siblings and then 1 younger. So I have an older brother. He's married, has a kid, and then my older sister, she's married, has 2 kids, and 1 on the way.
Oh,
which I'm really excited about. But
and are they nearby?
Yeah, they're in Mapleton, and then there's like a 5-year gap, and then me, and then my little brother, who's like a year and a half younger, and he's also out in Mapleton. He lives with my older brother. They work together. So
That's cool.
I'm the only one not in Mapleton, but they're all out there. And
so why did they pick Mapleton?
I actually don't know.
Okay.
It's so random.
It is a smaller town though, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, I think so. Would you say I don't know.
Yeah.
I think so. My older brother owns a basketball company, and so he like just coaches kids and stuff, and I think that's where their facility is at. So I think naturally they just moved.
Okay.
But his wife is from Mapleton as well.
Okay.
So I think they're like close to family. I don't really know.
It's just interesting that they all like ended up there, like your other siblings. That's cool though.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm pretty close to them. They're all out there, but
do you visit your family a lot in California?
I try to as much as I can. My older siblings, they're like, oh, I don't want to go out there because like LA's gotten kind of bad and it's always expensive. But I'm like, I love going out. Like I have a hard time with like the cold and snow. And so when it's like wintertime, I'm like,
yeah, you want to go to the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you moved here?
I graduated high school early and then I moved out here in like 2020.
Okay.
And then I was here for like maybe a little under a year and then moved back out and went on a mission. So I feel like consecutively I've probably been like 4 years maybe.
Okay.
And where did you serve your mission?
In DC. So Virginia side though.
Okay. That's cool.
That's cool.
That's got to be a really interesting mission.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really nice. It was unfortunately like just my luck. The mission was like all the Smithsonian's, all the cool things. And then it was like, there was the mission border and this was my mission. So I feel like I got like Mount Vernon in there. I served in Mount Vernon for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then like Arlington. So there were some cool parts, but yeah, I missed out on all like the...
Was it kind of a melting pot?
For sure. I really liked my mission because it was like, it reminded me of home, but like East Coast vibes. So it was a little different, but like lots of people. I don't think I taught a single American on my mission. It was all people. There's a lot of Africans out there. I taught a lot of people from Ghana, a lot of people from Ethiopia. That was like my main people that I taught. And then the occasional. Like,
did you have to learn their language?
I spoke English. I think God put me in an English speaking mission because he knew I wasn't smart enough to but like there was cool, but like we had a lot of people that spoke like Twi and a lot of people that like they were in the Thai or like Farsi out there. It was crazy, but I was English speaking. So
I was an English speaking missionary too. So
I feel
represent.
Like, yeah, I don't know how people learn language. I feel like that's a lot of work and I'm grateful that I didn't have to do it.
Yeah. But I feel like there's good and bad of learning a language and not.
Yeah.
Because you take so much time learning the language that it's like hard to focus on being a missionary in a way because you're like so stressed about people like not understanding you. I don't know. At least I was. So I think it'd just be cool, like right off the bat, you're like, hey, I can teach, I can bear my testimony. But then also it's like kind of nice not knowing the language in a way, because then people, if you feel like people don't really judge you because you're just trying and like, I don't know. So actually my sister went out to Southern Virginia University. So anyway, I like have been to Virginia to like drop her off at college and stuff, and then like DC too. But was the food good out there?
Oh my gosh, it was so good. I feel like I came home and I was like, oh, like I don't have all like cool restaurants. There's a lot of cool. I think East Coast has some really cool places to eat, and so I feel like every like time my companion and I would get MSF, or just like, if anyone's listening to this and they don't know what MSF is, it's like money that they give you on a little card. It's like such a small amount, but we would.
I forget it was called that. Did you? Yeah. Is that what they called yours?
I don't remember what they called it.
Okay, I can't remember either.
Missionary Spending Funds probably is what it stands for. I just guessed. But like every time we would just like go to Boston Quarter, which is like out in like McLean area, and just get the food court, and it was so good.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
It was really good.
Did you feel like a contrast between like California people and then East Coast people, just how people, I don't know, a lot of people just say East Coast people can be really intense sometimes?
Well, okay. I think that because I didn't teach a lot of Americans, it was like different. So like dude, people in like Ghanaian African culture, they're super loving but very like abrupt, like, what's wrong with you? And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like, so sorry really if I offended you, but they're really sweet. And so I think the culture was a tiny bit different in that regard, but like I was still in the States, so it was like I could go home and then like talk to some members in the ward and I'd be fine. But I feel like I didn't really struggle with like a drastic, and LA people are really mean.
Really?
I think so.
Interesting. Okay.
I like them though. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool that you like got experience like really big cities though, because I feel like LA has really good food too, and like culture. But so what would you say, like what made you want to serve a mission, and like what was, I guess, the hardest part of it and like the best part for you?
I don't know. For some reason, people on like my Instagram think that I haven't served, and they're like, have you ever thought of serving a mission? Like, you'd be really good at it. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, actually from your Instagram, I didn't know. Like, really? I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Because I don't talk about that much. I do. I love my mission. I just have been home for like almost 3 years. So I'm like, I don't know.
Because did you go in 2021, like after COVID?
Yeah. It was like I think when I got there, COVID had just started like lifting.
Okay.
Like I think 2 weeks into it, like we were able to go tract and do stuff.
That's good.
But like, I've already forgot your question.
Oh, just like
my mission.
Yeah. Why did you decide to go? And then what was like the hardest part or best part for you?
I think like growing up, I was really like, when I served a mission, because my parents, like we always fed the missionaries, we played basketball. My sister ended up marrying one of the guys that served in our ward because they were super close and whatever. So like we've always been close to missionaries while I was growing up. So I think when I was younger, I was like, when I go on my mission, and then I, got older, and I think my focus definitely shifted, and I played volleyball, and I was like, I'm going to go play college, and I don't want to go serve a mission. That sucks. And
So did you play volleyball in college?
No, I served a mission.
Oh, okay. You decided to, yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Spoiler alert. I was going to go, I was like talking to a couple of different schools, and I remember like my junior year of high school, like junior headed into senior year, it was club season, and I had like a couple of different experiences where like some colleges were watching me play.
And this was in California, right?
The tournaments were like in Vegas and things like that, but it was like back when I lived there, yeah. And so I just was like playing so bad, and I was like, Heavenly Father, like what the heck? Like I was just kind of like, I feel like I put in all this work. Why are you not helping me? And to make a really long story short, he was like, because you're supposed to go on a mission. When I was like 17, I had made the decision to like serve. And then I graduated high school early, moved to Utah for a little bit. And then it was like a waiting period until I was 19. But like, I don't really know. I think I just felt impressed to go. And that was like my first, like, in my mind, big girl sacrifice to like, go serve the Lord. And it was actually turned out, I'm really glad I didn't play college, because I would have not enjoyed it as much as like the blessings I've gained from my mission. So I'm really grateful that I went.
It all works out the way it's supposed to, for sure. Did both of your older siblings go? Like, did you see that example through them too?
Yes.
Okay.
My older brother served in Ohio, like on Ohio State campus. Mm-hmm. And then my older sister served in Bentonville, Arkansas. Oh, wow. And then me. And then my little brother served in North Carolina, so he's pretty close.
Oh, nice. So you guys all went stateside. Yeah. That's cool.
All really close to each other, too. Yeah. Like, I think we were all like 70 or 80 miles apart, which was crazy. But
So what was the hardest part of your mission? And then what was the best part? Missions are hard.
But
So I
yeah,
know
like-
it's really hard to just like pick.
from the list. There,
Let me pick from the list of
Yeah.
things that traumatized me.
it was honestly, it was good. I feel like my mission was hard for me in ways that like I don't feel like are typical. Like, I mean, I guess you probably felt this way. I'm assuming when you served in Cambodia, like you're out of the country. It's like a whole different, like, I didn't really feel like it was hard in that way. It was more like the culture of my mission. Like, I felt like I had a lot of, it was just tough. Like, I wasn't expecting it. And like the people in my mission were very, like, I love them if they're listening to this, but like very just like, I don't want to be rude and say like holier than thou or like self-righteous, but that's how it felt.
Yeah.
And so it was hard because they would be like,
But it's easy
trying
to like
tell me-
compare or
Yeah.
yeah.
And like they would like try to tell me how to do missionary work, and I'm like, we're literally all 19 years old, like trying to tell each other how to do. So I think that was hard. I think companions were hard. I had a companion from Ghana, and that was like a huge shift on like how I lived my day-to-day life. But we're really good friends now, so it's like
Yeah.
good. But yeah, hard more in those ways, just like with culture, I think. And then with the best part of my mission, probably like all the connections that I made. Like there's a lot of people out there that I don't talk to them as much anymore just because we all live busy lives. But like
Yeah.
I'll reach out once in a while and like just catch up with them. And like I feel like just those people that I did connect with are like, they really changed my life. Like I feel like you go out on a mission thinking like, I'm sacrificing everything, and like, but you gain so much more and you come back like, dude, they blessed my life way more than I
Yeah.
could have,
And it's a different, like you said, kind of bond that you build just because you're going through so much and it's such a new experience that like there's no way that you wouldn't,
Yeah.
So I would say for sure I feel the same way. Like I was so blessed, but also like I'm so grateful for the connections too, just like the good friends that I made from the mission. But yeah, I know what you're saying too. Like, I mean, in a way it was different because I actually went on my mission older. And so I was like mid-20s and like everyone's like little to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I like learned so much from so many people that were younger than me that it was like really humbling that way too. Cause I'm like, there's a lot of people here that are really mature and like
Yeah.
have cool perspectives, but at the same time, it's like every person's so different, like you said, and you're going to be like, a different missionary than this other person. It's not that it's bad or good, but sometimes like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not like you're breaking rules or anything, but like, one of my best friends felt that same way too. Like we would just talk about how can I be the best missionary, but also like keep who I am and not feel like I'm a bad missionary because I don't do it the way that this sister does it or whatever, so
Comparison is really hard.
yeah.
Comparison was a big deal in my mission. It was something that I struggled with.
Yeah. You you're never going to get that time back and you have like literally the Savior's name on your chest and you're like, it's just so much pressure and it's like condensed or whatever. And so I think like you're already so hard on yourself that way. But then like looking back, like you said, it's such a short time. You're like, I'm doing so much better than I thought I was or I did. Right. And yeah, so it's just kind of a mixed bag that way, but it's the best too. Super grateful for it. Just like you said, but well, so how did you get into like influencing and just like TikTok? Did you start doing TikTok first or?
Oh my God, I kind of hate TikTok. I'm not going to lie, which probably shouldn't say that. So
No,
if companies
it's
see this
fine.
but
No, it's just like, it's a different app for sure.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
I think it's harder to grow on TikTok than it is Instagram, but also I feel like they're going to ban it anyways. So I'm like, I don't want to put so much work. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to be better at posting on it. I think when I first started, so I did social media like on my mission. And I remember I told my mission president, like it was literally my whole mission. We would do like half proselyting day. And then the rest of the half I was on like Facebook and like doing stuff with people online. And so like we saw like really cool miracles from it. Like we got to baptize people from other countries and it was like really cool. But it's like, I remember I told my mission president, I was like, can you please take me out? Like, I really want to be done. I want to just like do a regular proselyting mission. And my mission president was like, I don't want to say no, but like, I feel really bad, but we feel super strong that you're supposed to be learning stuff here. And I'm actually really grateful that they kept me in it. Cause obviously now I'm like, oh, thank goodness I know like
That's
how to
super
make a
interesting.
post,
Yeah.
So I feel like it kind of started from my mission. And when I had come home, the story's actually, I think it's kind of cool, but I had come home from my mission early because I was having seizures like every
wow.
day. So it was kind of crazy, but we're all good now. I actually have no idea what it was. So who
Did
knows?
that happen before your mission or just on your mission?
It was like for probably like a year before I would have them, but they were so random and I didn't even know that there were seizures because I would pass out. And so
Oh,
I
wow.
wasn't conscious. So I would like just get up. My body would be like shaking a little bit, but then I'd get up and go about my day. I thought I was just like low on iron. So I was like, oh, whatever. Like, it's fine. But when I was on my mission, they started happening frequently. Like,
Well, and,
once
like your
every-
stress was probably way higher too, and
yeah,
all of
stress
that. Like,
does so many things to your
yeah.
body. I'm like, I don't know. But one of my companion, her name's Nina, but she was like, Sister Evans, like, you just had a seizure. And we were like, called the mission nurse. And then I started having them every day. And then they were like, oh, like, go home. And that was really hard in different ways, but it actually turned out to be like a huge blessing. So when I had come home, I was just like kind of still in that missionary mode of like, I need to share the gospel somehow. And like the only way I knew how to share it in a way that wasn't like completely weird was online. And so I started just like making little posts here and there about like Jesus and whatever. And then I went through a depressive episode and I posted a lot of weird things and we have since deleted them. And so hopefully no one ever sees those again. But my family started making fun of me and they were like, dude, delete your social media. That's like so embarrassing. People
really?
are talking about it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I did. I deleted my social media.
But that's like, I don't know, intense. Like, I guess for your family to like say that at the same time. Like, they're looking out, but yeah.
I know. It was a hard conversation because I was like, dang, like, it's not a phase. You guys just don't get it. Like, whatever my excuse was. And some of the stuff I did post, I look back on it and I'm like, we're going to delete that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, whatever. But like, I remember my mom was like, Grace, like, it's okay. Just delete it. Like, maybe just take a break. And I've like, there's very few times in my life where I've felt the Spirit like so strongly, like tell me to do something. And it's usually when I'm either in danger and like I need to turn around right away, or if it's like, you know, something super inspiring. And so I remember I deleted it and like literally in the span of like 3 hours, I got like this super strong prompting. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've had promptings like that, where it was like, you re-download that right now. And I was like, okay. So I re-downloaded it, but I didn't post on it for a while because I was like
re-downloading TikTok.
Yeah, and
wow.
Instagram and all of it. So I was like, because
you
fully
deleted all the
deleted my
apps.
account.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like I didn't just delete the app. Like I deleted my account, and I think within 30 days it's like gone forever.
Oh, okay. So you had to start over.
Well, within a few hours, I was like, I got that feeling of like re-download it.
Oh, okay.
So thankfully I listened and I still had like little bits, but I only had probably like 1,000 followers, and there was like mutual friends from school. Like it was whatever. So, but I remember I re-downloaded it and then I was like, I don't want to post anything on it because I don't want to be embarrassing and like be cringy. And then I was like, well, what's like one thing I could post about that's not like completely embarrassing? And I was like, well, Jesus is always like chill. And so that's kind of how it got started. And then
Jesus is always chill.
yeah.
You could make a t-shirt with that on it.
Jesus is always chill. Well, like I just knew that was like a universally, like there's obviously some people that are like, God's not real, but it's like for the most part, I feel like everyone's like, oh yeah, Jesus content, like love that. So that's kind of how it got started. And then people found out I was a member, and then that's where everything kind of blew up, and then garment friendly videos, and now here we are. But I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
Long story short.
Yeah, no, I feel like what you said, a lot of the time it's like, you know, when you're Christian, everyone's like, yay, you know, Jesus lovers. And then once you actually say that you're LDS, they're like, oh, and then they want to know more and like all these questions, which is a lot, I'm sure, at times, but I'm super proud of you for like following that prompting and doing it, because it is intimidating, like just to be on social media. Like just, it's like the world we live in, and a lot of people make money that way and connect that way, which is so cool. But then at the same time, like you said, you put yourself out there and like people are mean, and even like your family thinks something, right? Which I'm sure, like you said, maybe some of the videos were whatever, that maybe not the best, but
they're embarrassing for sure.
But yeah, but it's like at the same time, I think it's cool that you were even just trying to figure it out, you know, and it's like still your story, and you know, it's all good. But what did you feel like brought that on? Like, because you said that you were in like kind of a depressive state. Was it like anything specific that happened in your life that you like, did it help you turn more to like your Heavenly Father because of that? Or
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very open about my mental health. I think like I love my family. They're very blunt, very honest. Like, and I actually really appreciate that, because that's what I need. I need people to kind of smack me across the face sometimes. But I just feel like with like mental health and stuff, that was like something new for all of us. Like we'd all everyone goes through like depressive periods in life where it's just like life is hard and just everything's kind of piling up.
Yeah.
But like for that long, because I think I struggled with it. I still struggle with it now. So I don't even know what I'm talking about. I still go through it, but it's like been probably like 5 years of like bouts of like super deep depression where it's like I feel like I can't do anything. And so I think the worst was off my mission, like before my mission, during my mission, and right after. And then 2023, it started getting better. And I was like, hey, life is worth living and it's so awesome. So I feel like I'm grateful, but it's definitely Heavenly Father. Like, I feel like even on my mission, it was like, while I'm serving and praying and reading my scriptures, like the most I possibly could, and I was set apart to do those things. Like, I was still dealing with suicidal thoughts. And I remember, like, I'd call my dad crying and I'd be like, I don't want to be here anymore. But like, he's like, on your mission. I'm like, no, like on the planet. And like, it's really sad that anyway, I'm like gonna cry about it, but it's just like, that is always like a sensitive part of my life where I'm just like, I'm really grateful that that little version of Grace like stuck it out and like trusted in Heavenly Father, because I feel like he's turned my life into so much, like so awesome. And then like, I feel like it's like just getting started.
Yeah.
But definitely during those points, it was like, you know, like I couldn't even get myself out of bed. And like, I just feel like Heavenly Father like would send people into my life and like angels from this side of the valley and the other that are just like lift me up in ways that I, looking back on, I'm like, dude, there's no way I could have gotten through that on my own. And so I just feel like he's got a plan. Trust him. It's going to be okay. It gets better. I know that's like so cheesy to be like, it gets better, but it does though.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I feel like you said, it's hard because it's kind of a roller coaster with every individual, like mental health. Like, I think it's really awesome that you're open to talking about it though, because I know a lot of people struggle like with just not understanding like where they're at and why they're here, and like, is life worth living? And I do think like just your age, just Gen Z, I feel like you guys deal with like so many different things that even like I don't feel like me and Josh have even really had to like deal with as much. I don't know. I just think like growing up kind of on social media, it's just like a lot of pressure. I think it's just a lot of pressure even just to like be on earth. But like in Utah too, like I just, cause I feel like I can say that because I grew up here, but I do think there is a lot of like pressure being a member here and just like being single, and I don't know. So I can definitely like relate to that, but yeah, no, I'm just really grateful that you like relied on him and like recognized that, you know, he was there through it all. Cause sometimes it's hard to like recognize that when you're so low, you know, and it feels like you're so alone, but just like giving grace to him and yourself too, you know.
I think mental health is something that's not talked about enough. It's something that a lot of people really struggle with. I struggle with it too. Like I take medication for it every day, and have ever since I got back from my mission and was going to BYU. Like I really struggled with like the perfectionist culture and feeling like I didn't fit in at BYU. And I have ADD, so like I really struggled to like stay on this like straight and narrow path of studying. I just didn't learn. I don't really learn that way. It was fine when I had my parents watching me in high school and making me do it. But the moment I didn't, like, I felt like a loser, and it was really, really difficult. But that for me, that was something that never really went away. So I can relate to that. It's still something that I have to be careful with. And I have family members that have struggled with suicidal thoughts, and it's a scary thing. Yeah. Like I've never gone that far down the rabbit hole, but like feelings of apathy or not feeling, like feeling numb or not feeling something, or like hopelessness, those are really scary and lonely feelings. And I just think it's really cool that you were able to see yourself through to the other side of it, and that you relied on God and that he played a role in that.
Sorry you go through it though. It's tough.
No, it is tough.
Yeah.
We're out here.
We out here. You could also put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Jesus is chilling, we out here.
Yep. We're just doing our best.
For me
every
though,
day.
like this is something that I learned on the mission, and it's kind of maybe more of like a stoic thought. Happiness is just an emotion that comes and goes, but if I feel like I can like correlate my life or align my life with some kind of purpose, whether it's the mission or trying to find a wife, which both Caitlin and I got married later. It took me a minute to find a good one. Not because there wasn't any, probably because I was just dumb. Like I was a dumb guy for a lot of my 20s.
But I also think it just like Grace was saying with her mission, I think like and like with volleyball and stuff too. I'm just saying, like, you look back on it and the pieces just work out, you know?
Yeah.
Because in the moment you're like, why I want to play volleyball, like, you know, or whatever you're thinking. And I feel like me and Josh felt that too. We're like, well, why do I have to be single this long? You know, like, why do I have to?
We were both pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's like
it's just hard, but it all makes sense, you know, when it ends up happening the way it's supposed to happen.
But I also think that part of the reason why maybe God like lets us struggle with that is so that we can show empathy to others, because it's a lonely feeling, and like people can feel like they're drowning. But if you can throw them out like a lifeline, that's different than just saying, "Oh, you'll be okay." Like if you can come from a place of empathy and understanding, it can make a difference.
Totally agree.
For sure. Do you feel like you've been able to connect with people like with talking about mental health? Or do you think it's still hard to kind of open up about it, like with friends or even like people like you date, I guess?
I think with friends, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Dating's a whole different.
Yeah. And I'd love to talk about dating since you're still single. I'm like all of our younger people.
Tell us how much the guys suck right now.
It's really bad. Yeah, no. Well, to touch on the mental health thing, I feel like I have like really good friends. If there's one gift I know Heavenly Father has given me, it's discernment. And so I feel like I'm grateful that like I'm able to kind of navigate like, hey, these are people I can trust. Like Bella, who you guys obviously can't see her because she's not on camera, but she's like a really awesome friend. She's like been able to be there for me in so many, and sometimes like I've been able to like be there for other people just because like I know what they're going through. And sometimes like, I feel like I don't know how to explain it. And maybe you feel this way. Like sometimes you don't even need to say words. You guys just get it. And you're like, dude, I'm here for you. And I don't even know how to explain it, but I feel like the Spirit can just kind of touch their heart and be like...
Yeah.
It's like 90% of how guys communicate with each other.
But like exactly what you said, though,
anything,
I feel like as I've gotten older, because I used to be more of an open book, like, and I would just love to connect. And so I would just want to be vulnerable with a lot of people because I just felt like that would be the best way to get closer, right? But as I've gotten older and like the more you go through, like you said, you do kind of have to discern like who actually has your best interest or your back. Cause like you could open up to somebody and they could either like use that information against you or judge you or like end up leaving, you know, like you're not even friends anymore, like after a few months or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do agree with that. Like you have to be careful too, but it's awesome that you found people that you can like trust and rely on and stuff.
I'm grateful. I feel like my circle is super small. I think a lot of people think like if you're online, like you're like this shallow, like kind of just
or have like a bunch of friends,
yeah,
right?
Or like a bunch of friends. And I'm like, I honestly like I talked to my mom, like maybe 2 other friends. Like I really don't feel like I like hang out with that many people, but I feel like it's because I like to just discernment. Like it always goes back down to that. Like it's like I trust my people and that's great. And I actually feel like online, and this is probably going to sound like random, but I feel like online it's actually really easy for me to talk about vulnerable things because I feel like it feels like I'm playing pretend. And it's not because I'm like being fake or because I'm like
you don't
lying.
have to like talk to somebody face to face, right?
It's not like a physical person. It's just like
I can understand that.
Yeah. So but like in like the dating scene and all of that stuff, that's like I don't want to talk about it. Like not with you guys, but like with them, I'm like, you don't know me like that, so we're not gonna jump into it. Which
I would be careful for sure. Yeah. Like same thing, you know. But yeah, I think there's like levels of friendship too, like you said, because like you might go to these events with friends that, you know, you like everyone and you guys get along, but you're not like deep friends or whatever. And so that's totally fine. There's like levels and I think it's totally like normal and healthy to have like a closer knit circle or whatever too. So, but so since you grew up in California, like how has it been overall being in Utah and being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and also like how has dating been for you here?
So like when you originally had sent over like the list of questions, I saw that one and I was like, okay, what's like the most positive and like
you don't have to be positive.
I know. Well, the more that I thought about it, I was like, unfortunately, like I just really don't have a lot of positive experiences. Like I feel like it's been a lot of just like I haven't like dang, it sucks.
It's hard to answer or like probably put it into words, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm like everyone's a child of God, everyone's loved. I think it's hard because what I've noticed in Utah, and the only reason I say Utah over California is because I've dated more people in Utah. Like California, I think I've dated like maybe one person. So it's like whatever.
Did you ever have like a boyfriend in high school or anything? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy.
It was crazy. Okay.
Yeah, 16-year-old Grace, just
Yeah.
love her to death, but
We don't really know what we're doing at that point
You don't know
usually.
anything.
So yeah.
yeah, no, I feel like dating now though, unfortunately my experience has been a lot of people that like try to just push boundaries as much as they possibly can and like see how far they can go, and like it ends up leaving me like, dang, I don't want to talk about it, but maybe I will. Whatever.
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Whatever.
But I also think it can help people because just what you're saying right now, like I have a really close friend from my mission who's like around your same age, like 24-ish. And she literally said that exact same thing to me just the other day. And she's single. And she's like, I'm just so sick of every guy that I date, like pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that you say that. I'm like, dang, it must be, yeah.
It's pretty bad right now. I'm like, I'm glad you guys found each other. You're so lucky. It's just like hard because I feel like, and I don't want to like categorize everyone and say like every guy.
Yeah,
in Utah sucks.
I know. Yeah.
But it's, and because I have met good people, but it's like, dude, if I'm being generous, I could probably think of like 3, not even like super positive, but like decent experiences where I was like, that ended a little awkward, but it wasn't bad though. And I learned a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like even the people who I thought in my mind were like really awesome, like one of my friends at the time, we had been friends for like 2 years, and like we like spent every day together and like hours together. He's met my family, he's gone on trips with me, been with me through, after surgeries. Like he was like my
So
best.
was it more of a friendship or you were dating?
Well, it was a friendship. And
Okay.
then we decided to like, let's venture into dating and just see.
Okay.
And like, dude, unfortunately, it's just like the same thing with boundaries and with like, I've never felt so like violated and like sexualized. And like, it just afterwards, I was like, dude, I think
Just
I'm like
the ick.
honestly good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I was just like, it's sad because I'm like, I lost a guy I really liked. If he had asked me to marry him right on the spot, I would have been like, yes, you're awesome. Like, I felt like it was pure on my end. But, unfortunately, just like the way the culture is out here, I feel like it's tainted a lot. And so like even moving on from that situation that was earlier this year in like April maybe, and then like later on I tried, like I thought I was through it, and then went out with another guy, and like I found it really hard for me to like emotionally connect because I was just like,
Or trust.
like trust again. Like it's kind of hard because I unfortunately like I feel like my perspective, or what is that called, perspective of dating, like I feel like it's just been tainted, and like
Yeah, I get that.
I'm like, I don't know. When I say like I don't
It's a
want to date
bummer.
anyone, I really do mean it. I'm like, I just
Yeah.
want to be left alone. I'm really good.
So are a lot of the guys that you have gone out with, like, has it been through dating apps or like mutual friends, or how do you meet people?
I don't.
You don't, but like when
Don't
you
meet anyone.
but like when you were
yeah.
kind of more like,
I think a lot of them were through mutual friends and
Okay.
stuff. I'm not a dating app girl yet, which is hilarious because I work for Mutual, but I do love everyone on Mutual. I don't know if I've ever actually gone on a date using the app.
like from it, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think partially because I've just in like the thought of putting effort into a situation where I feel like crap again is just like, nah, I'd rather not. And so I don't, but there's nothing wrong with it if you do that. But
Yeah. Well, I had this conversation with my friend, like I was saying, and I was trying to like relate to her and think about like how I felt back then with that kind of stuff too when I was single. And it's just hard because it's like you want to have standards, obviously. So it's hard because I'm like, I get how sometimes people might want to like test the boundaries, with certain things to kind of see if you guys vibe or you connect or whatever. But then at the same time, I was like telling my friend, I feel like if you go to a certain level or whatever, you can't really like go back, And so
Yeah.
it's hard because like, I don't know. And it always kind of leads down the path of like more. And so
yeah, totally.
it is really scary to kind of play with fire that way. So I don't know. I think for me, I'm always like, I would probably caution on more of the side, like to not even go there just from my own personal experiences. I'm not one to talk though, because I feel like I, made mistakes, whatever. But at the same time, like I could see almost like kind of throwing your hands up and just being like, I'm scared to even go out.
Yeah.
Because of those reasons. Like, I don't know. What do you think, Josh, about like that
I
kind
think
of
it
stuff?
sounds like if you're a good guy and you're not weird, you could do really well in dating in
Please
Utah.
be normal.
Yeah.
Sounds like the bar is pretty low right now.
The bar is on the ground.
Yeah. And
Unfortunately.
another thing that I've heard a lot too about dating here is like, because I even felt like this when I was single, but I've heard that it's gotten even worse of just like the grass is greener vibe, you know?
Dude, yeah.
Where it's like, I always felt like, I'm awesome, you know, I'm cute, I have like a lot to offer, but a lot of the time I would go out with guys and I felt like you could just kind of feel like you weren't good enough, or you're like, they think they could find better. But then in your mind, you're like, dude, I could find better, you know, like you're not that great or whatever. But I hate that like mentality of like not wanting to commit or settle down sort of just because you're nervous that like there's going to be something better. And I feel like if they're like that, they're not your person, you know? And so I also was going to say to you too, like, even if it's not working out right now and you get that feeling of not like wanting to date, I feel like it also goes in phases, you know, where like it might come back and you're ready, and like you might actually meet somebody that's cool and you're like, okay, my heart's like a little bit more open to it. But I don't think it's like bad to go through phases of like focusing on yourself and like maybe work or whatever, you know, even though it can be lonely for sure. I think it's like worth it to have like those phases too. I don't know. Yeah. But those are just my 2 cents. But I don't envy like just being single and dating. It's so hard.
It's hard. I actually like it though. I feel like it's like, that might be hard. Like when I talk to my parents about it, they're always like, you're lying. But I'm like, I genuinely like, I don't have to be responsible for telling someone like, hey, I'm going to be out of the state for the next 2 weeks. Like I can just go and do stuff and have fun. And I'm really accepting of like, this is the stage that I'm in. That's if it ever got to a point where like,
yeah,
I wanted to date, and I honestly don't know how I feel about that anymore, but I'm like, if it got to that point, then maybe I'd be more open to it. But I'm like, I'm really chill with just having fun. And
you know what's funny is that when Caitlin and I, like, she got home from her mission and I got done selling, like when you're at a place where you don't really care anymore, that's often when it happens.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah. But I also think it's good that you have that attitude though, because I feel like if you're constantly like wishing the days away, sort of like, oh, I hate this phase, it's so lonely. Like you can have moments like that, but at the same time, it's like you got to just embrace it. Like you're just in it, and that's okay. And maybe like once again, it's going to make sense someday, right? The pieces are going to fall together. But in the moment, you're like, why do I have to go through this? It's just.
It's so rude.
Do you have any funny dating experiences you could share? It's fine if you have to roast some guys. It's good. It's good content.
I can think of one, but it's not even like that funny. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I had gone out on a date with a guy like last year. That's the last time I went on an official date, pretty much. Not really. I went on a date in the summer, but before that was last year. And like, I feel like he was like, okay, like I would love to take you out and like, let's go look at Christmas lights. And it was like probably a really good guy, but like he complained about paying the whole time. I was like, why did you even ask me out if you're not gonna, like, not that I expect to be paid for it, but like I'm totally cool with like 50-50 stuff, but I'm like,
yeah,
bro,
it's like, bro, you're ruining the vibe.
I know. He's like, oh, this hot chocolate's $5. I'm like,
you're like, I don't have to get it. Like so awkward. Yeah.
I'm literally getting it because I was invited. So it's a little awkward, but
yeah,
I didn't go out with him again after that. But like, probably a really nice guy. Here's my word. Don't date in your ward. Horrible idea. Unless you guys met in each other's ward.
No, we didn't.
we met on dating apps actually too. So
oh, nice.
Like a lot of people, I feel like, but no, I was going to say like I've had dates like that where especially like the first date, and when I'm like, you literally asked me out, like why wouldn't you pay? Like I don't know, because like that, I guess that's just kind of how my mindset was. Like you said, like down the line, I'm totally fine to pay. And like I even dated a guy for a while who was like unemployed, and I paid for him like for so many things. Like anyway, and so I'm like, it's not that I'm like a prude with that, but at the same time, it's like. But yeah, I think there was a guy that I went out with one time, and he was like so adamant about going to Cafe Rio. And I was like, cool. I mean, I love Cafe Rio, whatever. But it was just funny, like when we got there, because he wanted to go to Cafe Rio because he had a gift card. And so like, so it would be like free or whatever. But then he paid for himself on his gift card and then made me pay. And I was like, dude, you don't even like pay for me with your gift card? Like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
just stories like that sometimes where I'm just like, dude, why? Like, just pay for the girl. It's not that hard.
I feel like I don't want to like expect to be paid for all the time, but I'm also like, if in my mind, it's like, if I were to ask you out, then I'll pay for you. But if it's like, you're asking me, and I'm like, I'm not flipping the bill. I didn't even want to go. Well, I don't know.
You weren't even thinking about going until they asked you.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's hilarious.
Funny people for sure.
Yeah.
Caitlin had one guy on social media or on the dating apps that like complained about having to drive up because she was in Salt Lake.
Don't swipe up on me then.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
If distance
exactly.
is a problem, then
Yeah.
let's just end it here.
It was like a 40-minute drive, I think, for him because he was like up north. And he was like, I just don't know if I can like make the drive. Like, I just don't know if it's going to be worth it for me. And I'm like, okay, well, how will you know? Like, if you don't come, if it's worth it or not? Like, what?
I would have cut it off right there. But I feel like you're probably a lot nicer than I am. Like, you probably give people a chance. I'm like, if you're saying I don't know if it's worth it, I'm like, okay, bye.
No,
I'm
yeah,
blocking you.
no. In that instance, I was savage for sure because I started dating Josh and I was like,
It made me look good.
yeah, because I'm like, if there's gonna be a guy that's actually putting in effort, I'm not gonna like.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're good. You don't have to make the drive because I probably don't think you're worth it either. So we're all good.
Period.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
man.
feel you on that. It's hard.
Dating's just funny. It's
Yeah.
weird.
But do you feel like since you have like been online more just with like your job and everything, do you feel like it's been easier to talk about being a member of the church, or like is it still, have you gotten a lot of hate for that?
I feel like I do get a lot. Well, it just depends on the video. It depends on if I posted rage bait or not. Marketing
If you what?
tactic. If I posted rage bait or not.
Oh,
Like
What's rage
rage
bait?
bait is what I post if I'm like, I gotta get my engagement up. Let me just post something that sounds a little pick me, a little like, what? Like, I'm a member and I'm still getting hate. And then everyone's like, you're not a Christian. And I'm like, thank you. I actually just needed to get that video out to more people so that they could follow me. And this is just like my little marketing side of things. So I feel like usually when I'm sparking those comments, it's like low key, like not always, because sometimes the comments come and I'm like, that's just crazy coming from you. But that's, I can't scratch that.
No, leave it.
I
Leave
don't want
it
to
in.
get canceled. Here's the thing. I feel like I've always been someone that like shares the gospel, even since I was little. Like, I remember in like 3rd grade, I gave my friend a Book of Mormon and I like wrote my testimony, the little 8-year-old testimony that I had, and she threw it away. But I was like, at least I tried. Like, I feel like I've always kind of been pretty open about my faith because it's like, I don't think it's weird. And I also think being embarrassed about like your religion or about really anything in life is like a choice. So I choose not to be embarrassed by like the way I live. And I think there's that scripture of like, by their fruits you shall know them. And like, I think by the way that I live my life and by the people around me, you'll be able to tell the kind of person that I am.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't feel like talking about my faith online is like that big of a deal. I don't know, but I do get a lot of hate comments. Like sometimes they're really nice and it's great, but like on some of my reels, there's like thousands of like, I don't even read them. I don't know what's being said on there anymore, but it's like,
You just kind of block it out a little bit?
yeah,
Or, yeah.
because it's just like, I feel like there's battles that I can choose to fight on my own. And there's battles that I'm just like, you know what? Like, it's not really worth my time reading through my comments telling me I'm dumb. So it's all good. And we out here.
What do you think about
in
that,
Josh's
Kate?
words.
I just think it's awesome that you don't care as much about that. Like, and that you said you even felt like that at a young age. Like, do you think that was just like innately in you to be like more confident with that? Or like, what advice would you give to somebody who, because I'm like, I would say a person that cares too much about what people think. And I've had to like slowly really try so hard to kind of like be more degaff, just like, I don't care, and like you said, I just think it's so cool that you can just be like, this is me, like you like it or you don't, but this is what makes me happy. So yeah, I guess just like asking you, like, what advice would you have for someone like me where it's harder to, because you're just scared of like the judgment or what people will think, I guess.
I used to be like really shy as a kid. Like I was like very much cared about what people thought. So it's definitely been more just exposure therapy, honestly. Like I feel like it's like just dealing with hate comments and seeing them over and over and over again. Like maybe if you had asked me a year ago, I would have been like crying about one of them.
Yeah,
but
I
now
could see
it's
that.
like,
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, like step in line like that.
Yeah.
Let me just add that to the tab of the other thousands of comments that I'm getting. But it's like, I feel like the more that I've understood like what I do have to offer as a human being and like the gifts and abilities that I do have and just kind of how God sees me, it's like, yeah, like I don't care what a 40-year-old man online is saying about me.
Yeah.
On his private account. Like it's like,
You don't know them at all, right?
And I think that's another thing with social media is like you can't really tell everything about someone's life in like a 30-second clip. Like I did one video, oh my gosh.
So true. Yeah.
I did one video where I was like putting on makeup and it was to go do like an endowment session at the temple and something people were like, I cannot believe you'd wear that much in the font. And I'm like, I wasn't even going to do like a
Yeah, they
baptism.
don't know all the details,
Yeah, you
right?
don't know anything.
Yeah.
Or like
yeah.
I had one where I wasn't wearing my garments, but I was like, I just gotten back from the pool, and they're like, oh, okay, so you're lying. And I'm like, nope, I just like I have a life, and I have, and so I think telling myself, knowing like they don't know the full story, they don't know what I've been through and like what I believe, and then on top of that, just understanding that like most of the people that are leaving comments, it's like, dang, I really don't want to get canceled after this, but like probably don't have like any hobbies or like a life
Or chronically online.
Yeah, like I don't know if I've ever met anyone in person, like physically met somebody in my life who would leave a comment like that on someone else's post. And so then I just know like probably not someone that I
would even connect with or
Could
care
probably,
about,
probably
right?
suck
Yeah.
in real life.
Yeah.
not to be rude, but like
What do you think about? Because Josh is actually more like Grace's mentality. He's
So
like
yes,
more,
I am.
Yeah.
I just really don't care.
Yeah.
Like if there's something on this podcast that somebody will be offended by, it's probably something that I'll say. But
He's just more open, I feel like. And you're better at like brushing things off, you know, which is awesome though.
if I don't really respect somebody or know somebody, I don't really, their opinion, like why would I care? Why would I care what they think about me? But I would say that I have things to say. And maybe the reason why I haven't been like on social media trying to like say things like that, aside from this podcast, is I do have fear of backlash like towards my businesses because people can be vindictive. I mean, do I think that like missionary work and church stuff is really that controversial? I don't think that some Protestant Christian is going to leave my pest control company a 1-star review because I'm LDS, but I don't know. We lived in Seattle for a long time, and I'm pretty conservative in like my political views. I don't feel like I'm crazy. I just want to be left alone to grow my business, and I don't want to pay taxes. So,
amen.
it's kind of where I'm at. But in Seattle, you have to like really not make that known. like it would be putting myself in a vulnerable or like our livelihood in a vulnerable position. But now that we don't live in Seattle, I don't think it'd be that big of a deal because we don't have as many connections there. We still have a business there. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. It sounds like to me though, has that been a part of your marketing strategy to like grow your following? Because if we just post nice happy things, like that gets views, but rage bait is a thing. It is a thing and it works.
So like I feel like I'm talking like May this year, like literally within the last couple months, there was like a switch that flipped for me finally, like thank the Lord. But like, I remember I was talking to my brother, we were in Georgia just on a family trip, and I was like, he and I were kind of discussing like what I do online. He's like, you should like post, I can't even remember what he was asking me to post, but it was like something a little bit out of my niche. And I was like, I feel like I can't post that or I'm going to like lose followers. Not that the follower count matters, but like, I feel like I was getting
it does
traction.
in a way. Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
And so like my brother was like, don't you think it kind of sucks that like you can't post what you want on your own feed? And then that conversation alone, I don't even know if he knows that I remember this, but like that flipped a switch in my brain of like, wait, no, I do want to post whatever I want. Like this is my life and it actually wasn't until like then that I started just posting what I liked, and people naturally, because I was passionate about it, they were like, hey, that's kind of cool. Even if it's like, you know, church related or whatever. But like, it's like, here's my garment friendly outfit videos. And sometimes I dress like Adam Sandler and it's not even that stylish, but they're like, hey, that's cool that like, I don't.
But
feel,
you can like feel that though. Cause I was going to say that about when I found you online, I felt like that. Obviously, like I totally know what you're saying where you don't know the full story about anyone or like, but I could tell that you were kind of more just like, this is me and I don't really care, but I liked that is what I'm saying.
Nice. No, I think that's I'm glad.
Yeah, because it came across like even to me like more authentic, which I think that works better though than like making it so curated, you know?
Totally.
And so that's why like when, you know, I was just earlier when you were saying about your family, I was like, I don't know. I just think it's awesome that like, yes, you took the constructive criticism, but at the same time, I think it's like awesome that you can just choose which path like you want to take because it's your life and it's your like your brand, right? Or your profile. So I think that you got to do what makes you happy, and that will come through like on social media and stuff too. So
do you feel like that's a part of it? Like you just were coming through more authentically and people could resonate with that?
I think so. Like honestly, like, cause last year I would post, but it was like, I don't know if Bella remembers this, but like last year I was like only exclusively posting like just Jesus. I wasn't even mentioning that I was a member, although people in my life know that I'm a member. Like, it's not like I was ever quiet about it, but I wasn't like,
yeah, it's
going
not like
out of
putting
my
out
way.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I feel like I remember I was super scared to start posting like fashion content because I was like, I feel like I can't dress good. And like, what if people don't like it? And then like, what if it fails? And that was kind of scary for me. But I'm like, I think I just woke up one day like, no, I'm just going to do it. Like, the thought of like living my life and like trying to like appease everyone and make like seem liked by everyone is like, dude, like, cause yes, on
It's
social
so
media,
exhausting.
it's
Yeah.
exhausting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's so much more fun to just do what I want. And like the right people will naturally gravitate. And so like, to answer your question, it's like, I don't know if it was ever like a marketing strategy, but like ever since I decided like, this is who I am, like it or hate it, I don't care. You can leave, you can go, you can block me for all I care, whatever. And then all of a sudden, naturally, people were like, hey, that's actually kind of cool. And like, some people actually do like some of the things I post. I'm like, oh, okay, that's awesome. And like, I feel like in the last, oh my gosh, maybe like 6 months, I think my account has almost doubled. And so it's like really cool just to see
Yeah.
being genuine gets you a long way, I think. And I think that's just kind of like how I want to live my life, is just be myself, and
Yeah.
naturally the right people in the right places will come to you.
Yeah. That's awesome. I was going to ask you, like, do you think, like, has there been any like topic in the church that has been hard for you? Or like, what would you say to somebody who's like questioning certain things or topics like in the church? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but
No.
just like, cause I know you talk about garments or posting garment friendly outfits. Like, has that ever been hard for you to wear your garments, or is there like anything in the church that like you've questioned, or like what would you say to people that have questioned certain things? Because I feel like that comes up a lot, you know, like right now where I feel like a lot of people are stepping away from the church for different reasons, but it's almost like a bowling ball kind of like they hear one thing and then I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was just curious if you've felt like you've been there or.
I mean, I've definitely had my own moments, and I don't talk about this online really a lot. And it's not that I'm like closed off to talking about it. It never really comes up, but like I did like step out, not that I like left the church. That's not what I'm saying, but like I was fully inactive for like a year before my mission. And I just think like looking back on that time in my life and like how miserable and like sad and lonely I felt. And like in my mind, I was like, well, like at the time I was like, it's just because of like life happening. But like looking back on it now, I'm like, because I didn't have like the light of Christ in my life, like obviously I'm going to be depressed and whatever. And so like I have had moments like stepped out away from the church.
Yeah.
And I've also had my moments where I'm like so close to it that like it's all I focus on. And I think that's a hard thing for people online to grasp, is like I genuinely am happier when I'm living the gospel, and like I'm not going to force other people to do it, but I'm like, this is what works for me. I do think that there's, especially online, you get enough comments that like you question things now and then, like, dang, like some of our church history and that, like, but honestly, I
love the church history stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I also think like looking back, like when you have a lens from 2024 and you're looking back in the 1800s, like, dude, there's so many things beyond just church history that you're like, that's a little crazy. Like you think of like blacks in the priesthood, like, yeah, the church was like, it started being built up in like the 1830s or like the whatever, when he had his first vision. And then like civil rights movement wasn't until like the 1860s. So it's like, you have to like, you think, how well do you think that would go if we let blacks have the priesthood back then? Not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that I agree with that, but it's like, back then that was so normal. Or like with Joseph Smith and like,
I think that what people forget is that you can't separate the church from the cultural context that's in it.
Yeah, totally.
Even in the New Testament, Peter didn't want to baptize Gentiles.
Yeah.
Remember? And then Paul had that vision, or I can't remember who had the vision. It actually might have been Peter that had the vision. But anyways, like that was a big beef between Peter and Paul, that he didn't want to spread the gospel to the Gentiles or like share that with them. And so I see correlations, like in any dispensation, the church hasn't been perfect and it's had to work its way through the cultural context of the time. And it's definitely not fair. I think there's actually a term for it. I can't remember what it's called. Like culturalism. It's like, we can't base like our cultural understanding of,
like
of the 1800s through the cultural lens of today.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at now, is like, there are things like history wise where I'm like, oh, that was like not the best, but okay, like every religion has
Yeah.
things. And like, I think ours is just more talked about probably, but like the reality is like we grow and we learn. And I think the fact that we're like trying to get better is what matters. And then I also think like for me, I have to separate like church and like policies, procedures, people from the gospel of Jesus Christ, where it's like faith, repentance, baptism. Because the gospel of Jesus Christ never changes.
Yeah.
But like the way that we apply the gospel and like we like adjust to like the culture and the society and stuff, that's
it's
that's
completely
where
different.
revelation is ongoing, I think. And so I feel like I can't base my testimony on this side of things when I know that this is true and this has always been there.
That's exactly how I see it too.
Yeah.
I went through a period of time where I also didn't like go to church. I was never like disbelieving or anything, but I went through like a kind of like a period of apathy towards it, where it just wasn't the main focus of my life. And I still felt God's presence. I'm really grateful that I was able to kind of have experiences where I was really able to separate my personal relationship with God from the church. And I don't mean like what you're saying, the actual gospel of Jesus Christ, or even like the ordinances, you know, and the covenants that we make. But I'm talking about the imperfect things that do change, like policies, procedures, people.
Yeah.
It's like people are imperfect, and especially owning a business. It's impossible within any organization to have A+ players in every single seat, especially when the bottom levels of it, which is like 3/4 of it probably, or the majority of it, it's a lay ministry. It's like people are volunteering their time.
Yeah.
And they're not professionally trained counselors, you know, they're just doing their best. Mm-hmm. But I think that how you feel about it is a pretty smart way to view it.
Thank you.
Just like for anyone listening, like around your age, like I just think it's awesome that you recognized like, and you had a moment in time where you like saw the contrast between like you actually putting in effort and how that affected you, and maybe in a poor way, and now like really leaning into being a member and going to church and all these different things. Like we're never going to be perfect, but I think it's really easy to kind of just forget or like throw things to the side. I don't know. And I think that it just comes up a lot in my mind where I just want to continuously like remind myself, because I've been there too, where I was inactive and I feel like I really could feel the difference, you know, and the contrast of how like my effort changed everything, right? And it's like God can only really meet you where you're at. I mean, like he's always going to be there, and I never felt like he left me, like looking back on my life. But at the same time, like it's still action based, like a lot of the things that we're going to be blessed by, like, you know, we're renewing our covenants by going to church and doing these things. And but yeah, I just was thinking like back to what I was saying, like people your age, what advice would you give, like keeping God a big part of your life? Like how can you do that, or how have you done that?
I think like there's definitely been periods of my life, and I still go through it, like even post mission and post, you know, whatever, but I'm like, where reading my scriptures is hard and going to the temple is hard. And it's like, it's for no reason other than it just is hard. And I feel like the one thing that's kept me close to God, honestly, has been prayer. Like, I feel like if I suck at everything else, like as long as I'm praying, he's kind of still there, and it helps me like keep him somewhat centered in my life. Like, even if I'm not reading my scriptures or like not going to the temple, or like, dude, second hour of church, sometimes I'm like, I just want to go home and like eat some food and get a snack and go home and whatever. Yeah. But like, honestly, I feel like the more that I've just like tried to focus on prayer in my life, I feel like I can go back and like see all of the times God's hand has been in my life when I feel like I suck at everything else. Like at least I was communicating. Because, you know, the second you stop praying, that's like, you're not communicating with God at all. But like, even if it's like quick, like I've had some prayers that are just like, Heavenly Father, please help me. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. And like, he totally helps. And I just feel like it's like that, trying to at least keep communication open with him has been probably my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah. No, I think that's so true. Cause I feel like, especially like as a mom now, I feel like you just have less and less time to do, like you said, the temple and all these different things. And like, it's harder to get more out of church and whatever. But I do think like it's hard no matter what, you know? But like you said, you can't be too hard on yourself. Like we always want to be progressing and growing and putting in effort. But like you said, sometimes maybe all we could really do that day was pray and like to not ever lose that and that connection between you and God. So I think that's really good advice.
Oh, I think we talked about this before we started recording. Just like, I love getting to hear from people who are just like raw and real about life and about the gospel and like how to be like in the world but not of it kind of thing. Like I just feel like that's really, I think the church and like our culture needs a lot more of that, because I feel like it's really hard, like with, I don't know if you guys feel about church culture, like I don't know if you feel this way, but like I feel like it's a lot of like perfectionism and comparison and like the amount of times I've seen like garment checking and like where the line is at, and I'm like, dude, like I just feel like it's so nice to talk with people who like I love like the non-judgmental, like this is what life is really about and like this is what matters, and I'm just grateful to be here and share my own little thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know anything that I'm doing in life, but I'm
happy
to share.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate you because I feel like you are making a difference. Like even just you sharing with us that like on your mission, I don't know if it was your mission president specifically, like wanted you to focus on social media, right? And like, I just think it's so cool that like, it's just, social media is a mixed bag because it's like such a crazy time in life, you know, to be like online and comparison, perfectionism, like you said. But then there's so much good that can come out of it too, you know? And like when, you know, when I found you online, I felt like that I needed to reach out to you just because I could tell that you weren't scared to like share, you know? And I think that's so cool because there's so many people that I feel like could make a difference and have a voice and be like, you know what? Being LDS is actually really awesome. And like, it really genuinely does like enrich my life. But I feel like so many times like we're held back by like all the things we've been talking about, right? Like, because even for me, like recently there's been times where I haven't even really felt this until like recently. And I think it'd be interesting to do an episode about this, but just like feeling like imposter syndrome kind of.
Oh my gosh. I feel that all the time.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. It's weird though. Like I've never really felt that until like recently. Like I don't know. How do you feel like about that? Like,
my most recent example, I got invited to a Friendsgiving last weekend and it was like with all these influencers. And I was like, are you sure you want to invite me? Like, I'm like, I just feel like for whatever reason,
Yeah.
I still work. I told Bella this when we were leaving my office today, and I was like, I feel like Hannah Montana sometimes, where I'm like, I'm at my regular job and then I come home and it's like I'm changing and doing my hair and makeup and I'm going to an event or whatever. And I'm like, I'm really grateful that I have that opportunity, but also like,
yeah.
I have to remind myself, like, it all comes from God. I want to give all credit to God first and foremost, because I could not do this on my own. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Of course.
it has taken a lot of effort, and like I do deserve good things to happen to me because I have worked really hard to get to where I am. And
for
like,
sure.
I have to remind myself that. And I'm sure you probably feel that way in your business. Like when
Yeah.
it's successful, you're like, oh, like I'm so scared I'm gonna mess it up. And it's like, no, like you did work hard for this. And like even this podcast, I'm like, you guys have done all the outreach and you've done all of the marketing for it. Like it takes work, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. And I think I think we should all give ourselves some credit.
There you
Yeah.
And
I
that's
love
how I
that
feel.
though.
We're all
Thanks so much for
awesome.
saying that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that too. It's so easy to feel like you don't belong or you're not good enough. And I'm sure there's people out there that have felt that or I've even had thoughts with the podcast, like, what's it really going to do or where is it going to go? But I still think like no matter what, when you have these promptings and these feelings, like you've had to, you just have to like move forward with faith and do it. Because if you never go for it, you never know what's going to happen. And I really feel like those thoughts are always coming from Satan, where
Totally.
he's telling me like, you're, you know, not good enough, or your friends actually don't really like you as much as you thought they did, or you're not meant to be in this group for whatever reason. Right. And it's been weird lately, like me feeling that way. Cause I'm like, I usually feel more confident, and I'm sure it's obviously like I'm pregnant, and being pregnant's really hard too. And whatever, just like my stage of life just feels different that way. But I just think it's so awesome that like you're pushing through those feelings too, and like you feel that as well. And like, I don't know, just knowing that you can make a difference, even though it's scary sometimes to like jump off the cliff or whatever you want to say. Like So just keep doing what you're doing and just sharing and like not being scared to like be who you are, like, because you're a light. And so I think it's just awesome that you're doing that. So
Thank you.
yeah.
I think your guys' podcast is awesome too.
Yeah, it was super fun having you on.
I know, thank you. I'm so honored. When you had reached out, I feel bad that it's taken as long as it has, like that freaking mix up of the
happens.
day. I was like,
No,
I'm
no.
so sorry.
It's totally fine. I'm like, it's just, yeah, we're totally happy that you're even willing to come on. And
thank you.
I know you probably like can reach people in different ways like than us, you know, so I think it was definitely meant to be. And if you want to follow Grace, where can they find you on like social media?
Instagram is probably where I'm the most active, but it's just _Grace and then Vans like the shoe.
Oh, so is your last name Evans or no? It's
Evans, but I don't like the double E's because it doesn't look aesthetic. So I took one out. But then when I explain it, like everyone's like, they always spell it with 2 E's. If you look up Grace Evans on Instagram and you live in Utah, it'll probably come up first.
Oh, okay. So it's like _Grace Vans, but it's Grace Evans.
Yeah.
Okay. And then are you the same on TikTok?
Yeah,
Okay. And you're just on Instagram and TikTok, right? Or is there any other? Okay.
I think so.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Well, thanks so much for listening, guys. And yeah.